Hi guys, it's Kristi. We're going to sew in the signature today and do a couple of decorated pages, but first I wanted to take a second to talk about some basic tools. Let me get this out of the way. The cutter I use is a Fiskars. Now Fiskars is really good. My only complaint, I don't know what this is called. It does have a rotary blade on it. My only complaint is that this is intended to be used this way, where you pull out the arm to the left and measure. I wear bifocals. Yes, I'm old. I've been wearing bifocals for about 8 years now, and I cannot see these lines, and I don't know if it's because of the bifocals or if it's just because it's so tiny. But not only that, you can see this is white because I've added paint to it. There's no ink on this. It's just raised numbers and marks. So there is no way, absolutely no way I could read that. So that is why I use my cutter upside down so that I can see the measurements here on the bottom. I kind of like the rotary blade a little bit. For the most part, I've had this for about, I guess, a year and a half. It's starting to wear. The lines on the board are starting to come off. But the one I had that I really loved, and I think I've got it here somewhere, or not. Hang on, let me get it and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I had to crawl under my desk. This one I've had for 20 years, and it's gotten a lot of love and attention. But I'm having a hard time finding the blades for it. And as you can see, the blade is not in here right now. This one is the same issue for me, and it's even marked a little better. I can see the numbers. It's when I'm doing the detail. And I want to say the first cutter I had, which was like a gray base, I want to say the bar was across the bottom, but maybe I have just always done it upside down. I don't know, but I always cut on this side so that I have the markings next to me for accuracy, okay? But this is my favorite cutter. I just need to get blades for it. The rotary one works until I get the blades for this one. I just got for Christmas, a swing line guillotine cutter. And I like this one for doing large batches of cutting paper that doesn't have to be very detailed, because it only has 1/8" marks. And down here, there is a ruler here kind of in the middle, but all these squares are just 1/2 inch. So if you want detail, you know, to the 16th or to the 1/8 inch, maybe this isn't the best one. And it is very sharp though, and I can cut through cardstock pretty good with it. If I do more than maybe 3 pieces of paper, it has a tendency to slide, and kind of the blade will kind of drag the paper with it. So you have to make sure you're holding it, you know, over here real tight. But this one is not too bad if you're not looking for, you know, very detailed accuracy. Is that the word I'm looking for? The other tool, so you do pretty much need a cutter of some sort. But you don't necessarily have to have one of those type cutters. You could use a craft knife and a ruler. This is a Tim Holtz ruler that I just finally broke down and bought because it has the centering marks where zeros in the middle, and you can center things. And I like that. It has a beveled plastic edge on one side, and it has a metal edge on this side. So that's perfect for using your cutting blade for that. Of course, you definitely, if you're going to go that way, you need a cutting mat. This is a self-healing mat. I think I paid $12 for it on Amazon. It is a Fiskars, and it's double-sided. So when I get all the blue side all scratched up and grungy, which I'm starting to get some ink that doesn't want to come off anymore, I can flip it over and it's pink on the other side, and so it's kind of like 2 for 1. Okay. What else? One of the things that I like to have is a bone folder. It makes your creases flat, nice, tight, and I need to clean this one up. It's got lots of glue on it, but I like the bone folder and a good pair of scissors. These are probably $5 scissors from Walmart that I use most of the time. I do have micro tip scissors. I don't use them very often, and I have a pair of old fabric scissors that have been used for something else, so they're not completely sharp anymore. I believe these are Fiskars. It doesn't say. Oh yeah, there it is. The other thing that I have now, this is not stuff that you need. You know, use what you have. But Cindy asked me about my tools, so that's why I'm doing this. This is a kit, bookbinding starter tool set that I bought on Amazon, and I want to say it was $9. It came with, well, let me see. It came with needles. It came with, I thought there were 4 of these. Yeah, there are 4 because I have one over here to use. 4 spools of waxed linen, and it came with an awl. And you can use a needle to pierce or any other piercing tool, but this is nice and very sharp. I have cut myself on occasion. But this was a nice little starter set, and I think there were a couple of other things in there. There was like a 6-inch metal ruler, which I don't see on my desk somewhere. I have some containers. I like to put everything in these little containers so that I can grab them quick. It came with a glue brush, which I have used for inking for just a light texture. And I don't remember what else was in there. But yeah, this is a good investment if you're going to be doing some bookbinding. Not necessary. If you have a sewing kit, you're good to go. What else can I think of at the moment? Oh, glue. I started out using tacky glue, Aleene's original tacky glue. I have used this since the 80s. I used to watch Oleene on TV. This company happens to be here in Fresno now. I think her daughter Tiffany is here in Fresno. I'm not sure, but I know that the company is on the other side of town. There it says Fresno. And so I have used this forever. I know it works. It is a little on the wet side, so it does cause some wrinkling in your papers, but it works fine and it's inexpensive. You can find this at Dollar Tree. So I think theirs is a 3-ounce bottle for $1. I bought this one because it was on sale, and I do like this one because it's kind of all-purpose, and I can use it for some of the accents because I can make it a little bit thicker as far as gluing on like fabrics and beads and things like that. The only thing that I've come across that doesn't want to work very well with this is the craft paper. And like I said, if you have bought craft cardstock, you know that it's very textured. But other than that, I have I like the clear, but I will use these interchangeably, whichever one's closest to me. At the moment, I got these bottles for like I want to say it was $2 for an 8-ounce bottle, so I bought 2. That was on Amazon. I broke down and bought these Oohoo sticks because they were recommended, but I think I would buy probably a larger one They work okay, but I do find that if you want something to be permanent, you don't necessarily want to use this. It works great for holding things in place until you add other things around it or over it, or like I will use this to attach my ribbon until I get to the sewing machine. Putting two pages together in the middle that you're going to sew around the edge is perfect for just tacking things down, not for permanent adhesion. I have used this for decoupage, but then I usually go over the top with Mod Podge. As far as Mod Podge, I would suggest the matte. If you want Mod Podge, you can also use watered down Elmer's glue. You do not have to buy Mod Podge. The only reason I have these is because they were at Dollar Tree and I just grabbed some. One thing I just discovered was this Aleene's Fabric Fusion pin, and this reminds me very much of Glossy Accents. Now, I want to say I paid like $10 for this bottle of Glossy Accents at Hobby Lobby. I don't remember exactly, but if it was that much, I might have used a coupon with it. This is 2 ounces. This isn't quite an ounce. It's like 2/3 of an ounce, but I like that it is in a pin. It's very easy to squeeze. Nice cap, but it feels and smells very much like Glossy Accents. So this will work. I tried it yesterday on some craft paper, so I think I might be using this to maybe add my accents like beads or crochet or things that are dimensional. I'm going to try using this. I haven't done anything but the craft card, and you do still have to hold it. It is meant for fabric, but it has I don't know, it just feels like a very stronger hold, and like I said, it reminds me a lot of Glossy Accents. So the main complaint I have about Glossy Accents is the tip. It gets plugged every other time I use it. So anything other than that, if you want to know, I'm trying to remember to tell you as I go, but let me know if I forget to tell you something. And the brayer, this is a speedball brayer. They're not very expensive. I've had this one for 20 years. These are usually used for applying paint to like a mixed media project or something like that, a paint or applying ink or whatever. Mine's covered in glue. I use it for ironing basically without heat, just for adhering things. So you don't need this. You don't need any of these things. Basically, you need a ruler and a pair of scissors. And if you're going to sew things together, you need a needle. Other than that, you're good to go. So like I said, just let me know in the comments if you have another question, because you know, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. You do not need a scoreboard, but if you want a scoreboard, I would recommend Martha Stewart if you can find it. It does come not with the lines. I added the lines, but it comes with a with the score tool, bone folder. It's a little sharp on the edges for me, and I feel like I sometimes tear the paper, so you have to be very gentle when you're scoring with this. It has a chart inside. I don't know if you can see it. It tells how to make, you know, various card sizes and boxes. And it also has, if I remember correctly, something I've never used, which is an envelope template. So I don't even know how to use that, because do I read instructions? No. So anyway, but I have, you can use your cutter for scoring, and I did that for many, many years. I got this a couple years ago for my birthday, and I love it. I wish I had purchased it a lot sooner. So anyway, let's move on. I don't know how much time I spent on that, probably 10 minutes or so. But I hope that answered some of your questions. So today, let's go ahead and we'll see how far we get. I want to sew in these signatures. So I have taken one of my needles out of my bookbinding kit. I'm using my waxed linen, and I think this batch of wax linen is a little on the elderly side, but because the wax doesn't seem as sticky as it should be, but it works. So I would use a smaller, you know, medium size needle hole, because you don't want a big hole in the spine of your book. You'll want to measure out 3 times the height of your book, and that'll give, I mean, you'll have more. You want more than enough. You don't want to have it so small of a string you can't tie a knot. So I do not lay these flat to sew them in. I kind of keep them at a V just to make sure they go straight through. Oh, and I lost all the pages, so I had to put this back together again. So it's a little bit different. I've got, I went ahead and added a doily in here somewhere. There it is. And then just, I don't know if it's pretty much the same, but a couple of things may be moved around. But so if you think, wait a minute, that's not the way it was, that's because it's not. So I'll start and I will just fold it. And I'll be honest with you, this is the part that intimidated me the most when I started. And it's still not my favorite part. I like to use my sewing machine when I can for sewing the signatures. Basically what I'm doing here is just lining everything up, getting it where I want, because once it's sewn in, if it's crooked forever. So I'm just going to center these things. But when you have this many pages, you can't, my sewing machine doesn't like this many pages, so I'll have to hand sew it. And this is just, it's what's called a 3-hole pamphlet stitch. That's the basic. There are a lot of fancy stitches you can do that are very decorative on the spine. And I always think I'm going to try one of those, but I haven't. I'm going to move this one down toward the bottom a little bit so I can put a taller tag if I like. And there we go. Okay, so we've got everything where we want. We're going to open the middle, use my fingers down here, and then I am going to clip, and I'm going to start out clipping a little bit closer to the spine till I get everything where I want. You see how it kind of skews a little bit. I want to make sure everything's back in that little fold. Pinching, and these clips I got at Dollar Tree. Sometimes I say Dollar World, but that's because it used to be Dollar World, and it's Dollar Tree. So I have a little bubble, as you can see, and that happens sometimes. So once I get it where I want it, I'll kind of loosen these up, stick my finger down here, and kind of just loosen them so the papers will lay better the way I want. And then this one's still bubbling. I'm going to hold this with my hand, and I'm just going to kind of, this is holding it, so I'm just kind of let out some of the bubble there. Then I'll hold this one with my 2 hands. I'm probably paying much more attention to it than I need to. Now I'm going to slide these down this way because I need to be able to get in here. Okay, just slide them out a little bit because everything's where I want it. Now, I don't, there again, see it's not laying flat because I want to keep, when I poke the holes through, I want them to go straight through. I don't want them to go sideways. So, how do I poke the holes? Alright, well we're going to use the awl. Where did I put it? Did I put it back in here? Should be right here. My goodness. Oh, it ran away. Okay, here it is. I'm just use one of the gutted book blocks, and using the crease here, I'm going to lay this way, and I have made a template. This template is 1 inch by 8.5 inches. This is the template that I use for sewing in these books because I already know the size of the page. I'm using graph paper, but you don't have to use graph paper. I folded it in half and then I folded it to the middle, and that gives me my 3 spots for sewing in. I also have a couple of other ones for if I want the stitches further out. So if I have things that are staggered in here, like little envelopes sticking out, and I want them to hit more than one hole, you know, I can vary the holes. You do want to write top and bottom, and that's just so that you don't poke holes this way and then poke holes this way and they don't line up. They should if you're using a ruler, but you know. Okay, so I'm gonna put this down in there, and because it's the same height as the book, I can just line it up with the top and the bottom. And then I'm just gonna take my awl and poke it straight through like so. I kind of wiggle it around because I want a little bit bigger hole. And then I'm going to do that. My paper kind of shifted. And so, yeah, I'm off about a 1/16 of an inch. So I'm going to line this hole up again. And that's where I'm going to have to go in that hole, holding my paper, and go in that hole. Okay, so I've got my 3 holes, and hopefully when I punched my holes, it came out on the spine because of, you know, doing it in the V formation. There are cradles that you can buy for punching if you're going to do a lot of bookbinding. I have not invested in that. You can make one even yourself, but as long as I have a gutted book, which I always have, I think I'm good to go. Okay, so this has the holes. Now let's put holes in here. I'm going to use the same template, top to bottom. Now this one, I'm going to line up with the paper, not the edge of the book, because I know that the paper is 8.5 tall. And I'm just going to punch there in the middle. And punch here. Holding my, I don't want that to move, and punch here. Okay, so now I have 3 holes punched, and because that lace is there, it might be a little bit harder to see. So I'm just going to go a little bit bigger. I almost can see through the light of that spot. There we go. And where's that other one? There we go. If I hold it toward the window, I can see through the light. Okay, so now I've got that. Now we want this to go on here, making sure that everything's the right way around. We're going to start in the middle, and we're going to leave a tail about, you know, about 8 inches, I think. So I'm going to go through the middle, and then I'm going to go through the middle here. I'm going to hold it to the light so I can see. Perhaps I should have put that lace on after. Sorry if you guys can't see. There we go. Okay. So we're going to go through there. And sometimes this is a little stiff, or the hole's not quite big enough for your needle. Just wiggle it. Okay, so I'm going to leave a tail. I'm going to hold on to that tail with my finger. I'm going to come back through the top. And this is a little, what's the word, fiddly, if you will. But you want to go back through this hole here. Okay, come up through the middle of the signature. Now, some people will go, oh, see, I made that hole a little bit too big, but that's okay. It'll be fine by the time. Some people will go back through the middle one. I go all the way up to the top and go through and then we want to go back through that hole in the spine. I'm sorry if you guys can't see this. And then I'm going to go back up through the middle. And the reason that I do that is because you don't want to go through, you can see this is this way. We want to go through the same hole, but we don't want to go through this thread. And I can hold this way, away from the hole, and go through it. This clip keeps getting on the edge. And then go through the pages. Like I said, it's a little fiddly. Once you do it a couple of times, you get used to it. Oh, see, I went through the string. I don't want to go through the string. So I'm going to bring it up through here and then refocus. Bring it through the cover. And then go through here. While I'm pulling that, then I can see where it is. There we go. Yeah. That way I'm not splitting the thread, because that'll keep it from pulling through all the way. Okay, now when you get to this part, you kind of want to pull it, and you want to make sure that it's tight. You don't want to make it too tight, because you will slice your pages. But you want to make sure this is, you see how this is a little loose here? I want to make sure that's tight. So I'm going to just pull on that a little bit more. And I think that's good. Then I'm looking at this this string, and I want to make sure that one of these is on either side of it. So I'm just going to take my needle and go over. That way I have a string on this side, string on this side, and I can take my needle out now. And tie a knot. Okay, now I am going to tie a square knot. So this one will go this way, like so. And then what I think I'm going to do, which I haven't done, but because this is kind of fancy, is just take a piece of lace, which is the length of the page. Okay, you don't have to do this, but it's just something I like to do. And then I'll lay it here in the middle. I got this idea from Gail Agostinelli, and I just think it's so cute. And I just tie that in there like that, and then I will tie a bow. Just a regular old shoelace bow. Now you can hang charms from these if you like. I'm just going to trim that down so it's not sticking outside the book. But I just think that looks really cute with the lace in between. And then you take your clips off, and you're all sewn in. Okay, so there we go. Now we have our journal. And you could be done right here. You don't have to do anything else. This is what I would call a bare naked journal. Well, bare naked, I don't put designer pages in or lace or anything. I just put paper. But this can also be called a naked journal. Maybe not bare naked, but you're good to go. However, we're going to go on and decorate some of the pages. So let me see how much time I've got. I've got 1 minute. Okay, so I'm going to end this video here, and then I will start the next video. If this seems really too confusing, look on YouTube for how to sew in a signature. I'm sure somebody else has a better tutorial on how to do that than I just showed you, because I'm still a little bit clunky doing this. That's why, like I said, I use the sewing machine most of the time, but it can be done, and with practice it becomes easier. I kind of like to do it without, you know, like the paper bag journals, you don't have to measure. You just poke the hole, go around, and done. Do it with the needle. You don't have to do a fancy thing, but it is a skill worth learning. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.